p.m. Containing 1.9 acres located at 500 Mays Lane, West Waukene, Texas. The properties are situated in Hunt County, Texas. We have both Mary and Shannon out. Are everybody aware with what's going on here? Put together.
Why don't you explain?
Yep. Can you do a quick explanation?
Oh, the zoning changes? Yes,
Yep.
sir. I apologize.
You're good.
So the zoning changes that have been brought in front of you tonight are in regards to some errors that we found in the ordinance when Bureau Veritas was reviewing the documents for you post our adoption in January. The text amendments that are mentioned in the public hearing notice are in regards to lot setback sizes. In our zoning ordinance, we have them outlined as one number versus in our subdivision regulations, we have them as a more stricter regulation. It was decided when Shannon brought this up to guidance that y'all wanted them to match each other and to go on the stricter side. That is what has been reflected. It only changed a few areas going from 9 feet to 10 feet, things of that nature across those specific 3 districts. And then additionally on the map, there was 2 areas that seemed to, in between version 5 and version 6 of the zoning map that we went through, seemed to have been mislabeled to manufactured instead of general commercial. We went ahead and made that revision as well, put it all under one public hearing for tonight. That's kind of the gist of it. They are pretty cut and dry issues. Unless there's any questions y'all have, I'd be more than happy to answer them either now or during the actual item on the agenda later this evening.
The question though.
Yes, sir.
The owners of those properties,
Yes, sir.
they were notified of that, right?
I would believe
Yes.
so, yes.
They have been notified, yes.
Now they're not here.
No. We'll go ahead and move on with B, text amendment to the zoning ordinance and amendment to Article 14.300 related district regulations to review interior side yard setback requirements with the adopted zone ordinance standards. C, consider a request for site plan. Wait a minute. We need to keep moving there.
She covered both those items.
She did cover both those items, so we'll just read it out there. Consider a request for site plan approval for property owned by Philip Panopoulos, located at 140 West Highway 276, Texas, property ID 101884, legal description A0418 Hassel Zachary, tract 6-1, acre .951, zone commercial. The request is to approve site plans. So that one is different.
That one,
Yeah.
Yep. Go right ahead.
My name's David Caldwell. I am David Caldwell Construction. I'm working with Philip on this particular project. Shannon, I believe, has submitted you guys the site plan. If you haven't seen it, got any specific questions regarding that, I'll be happy to answer.
So I've seen the site plans.
Mhm.
Can we get an elevation look? Just what the outside of the building look like?
I actually sent that to her.
She didn't have that the other day when I looked.
I sent it to her Friday. I don't have
That might
one
be
with me.
why.
Okay.
Because I was there, I think I was there Thursday. So did we get those?
They just got
Maybe
the,
not in
so
there.
it's
Unless
a
they were
warehouse
dropped
type of
in
thing,
late.
right?
Can you? Yes, sir.
and you have trucks coming in to the trucks backing into each one of these bays. Is that what it is?
It's going to be the structure itself, the footprint, the proposed structure is 50 feet wide, 175 feet long. We're looking at 7 suites. So potentially up to 7 suites. One individual may elect to rent 2 suites, 3 suites, or just the 1 suite. Once they determine how big a unit they want, then we'll build dividing walls in between each one of those units based on what they want from a build out perspective.
And the entrance is from 276.
The main entrance is on 276 with a secondary entrance, the road to the east. I don't know the road name. By the tire shop. Comes out beside the tire shop. We did propose a third entrance to the back street, but the last meeting I was at, the group wanted us to discontinue that entrance, which would
Keeping them out of the residential area.
get us out of the residential area. And I'm working on pulling up an email and I'll show you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, cause it's not in the stuff that we got.
But any additional questions? We're looking at it's very similar to a steel building. It's gonna have seven panel doors or garage style doors on the front, 7 glass doors and 7 windows with awnings. So it's not just gonna be a big box. It's gonna have a little bit of character. I'm multitasking here, so you have to bear with me. And then it'll have he's planning on a white color with black roof, black trim. It'll be very clean, and doing a black wainscot across the front for sure.
Any kind of fencing?
Whatever the ordinances require. Whatever the ordinances require, we'll meet all the city ordinances from landscaping, fencing and things like that.
So this will happen again in our later.
Yes, this
May I-
is just to give the citizens a chance for input.
Okay.
He'll explain it. We'll give the citizens a chance for input. Y'all can ask him any questions now and then again later as well.
And in the meantime, I'll find out.
Thank you.
Anything else? No, anything from the citizens? Okay, if we have no citizens input related to, then we can discuss closing the public hearing. Need a motion?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
You got a motion?
Second that.
Got a second? All in favor?
That's coming.
Craig Sprinkle.
James,
Cecilia Irvin.
Close the hearing at 6:40. Bob? All right, we're gonna go ahead and call this regular session of the City of West Waukene City Council meeting to order, April 14th, at 7 o'clock. We'll start with invocation and pledge allegiance. Mr. Ramsey, if you lead us, please.
Father, we thank you again for the opportunity to serve this community. Grant us wisdom and clarity as we consider the matters before us tonight. Help us seek what's right and act with integrity, and make decisions to serve all of our citizens. Watch over our city, our first responders, and those who live here. And we ask your special blessing on the families of Shannon and Mary. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving on from there, announcements. Council, do we have any announcements?
I do.
All right.
Want to introduce our new city administrator, Chris Bidwell. Comes to us from Galveston with probably 30 years of experience in various government and municipal roles. He and his wife Jennifer will be moving here soon, and I look forward to working with him. He's already helped taking a load off of me, so I think it's going to be a great thing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other announcements?
Other than poll, or is there a petition?
So we don't have a lot of information on that, so I don't know what we want to bring up. What do you know about it?
Honestly, I don't know much about it, about a data center poll.
Okay.
That we need a place in Southland County for them to do the poll at.
Again, I've reached out. We'll see what we can get something set up around here, but we really don't have any information yet to give out. So
What is it? I don't understand. What is it about?
it's a petition against the data centers moving out here,
Yeah, I got you.
more countywide.
Yeah.
Counties have limited authority. There's one going in where I live too, so I'm kind of aware of all of the data center stuff. Counties have kind of limited ability to restrict and zone. Cities have a lot more ability, and if that's something that we want to look at to try to, but you're looking at something where I don't think there's any spot inside the city limits in which a data center could even go. Okay, so I'm not, that's one of those things where we would have we'd have some ability to actually restrict something like that from coming in, but there's nowhere size wise that it could even be considered, so that it's going to be a county thing.
Yeah, it is a county. Commissioners met on it today. They do have a petition moving around to try to ban it, but we don't have all that information. So,
Speaking as your planning consultant on hire for the city currently, y'all, when we did the zoning update in January and was also being brought back to y'all right now, we purposely did not zone any land as industrial within the city limits. That is the only district in which that level of development would be allowed, applicable to y'all zoning ordinance. And so from an inside city perspective, what regulations y'all have that Lee's referencing, y'all are already covered from that base for at least within y'all city limits. Outside the city limits, that then falls on the county.
very nice. Answer. Okay. JD, you got anything you want to throw in? Council wise? Don? Chris?
I'll just mention to council that I didn't have time to put one together this week, but my intention going forward is to provide an administrator's report to you ahead of the meeting. So we can talk about what that format should be, but we'll get started before the next one.
Okay. No other announcements? We'll move on. Citizens input related to agenda items, 3 minutes. I didn't receive any. Do we have any citizens input?
You gotta sign in then. Just sign in and.
Robbie, did you have something you wanted? Okay. Hey, you can go ahead real quick and give it to us and then just fill that out before you leave.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. Well, I was just wanting to talk about the the signs, no, it was proposed to have a 3x6 sign, ordinance. And, I gave you guys some numbers. I don't want to go over the numbers right now because I don't have everything intact. But for example, your sign out front, if we did a 3x6 sign, out there, the letters would normally be 2.5 to 2 to 2.5 inches. And that's just not enough if you're driving down the road at 50 miles an hour to see. That not only is a problem, it causes problems for drivers too, because if the driver's trying to pay attention to the sign to read what it says, and the letters are 2 or 3 inches, you know, it can cause problems, be dangerous. So I was just hoping that you might consider changing and doing something a little different, a little bigger signs.
Okay.
Like that. Okay. But if anybody wants to, we can lay out some signs, so we'll have some measurements and distance and everything, but I didn't have time to do it this time. So.
Definitely make sure Shannon gets with you on that.
What do you recommend for a size? What do you recommend for a size?
That's kind of hard to say. I'd have to lay it out and see. But I mean, like I said, a 3x6, you're talking 2 to 2.5 inch letters. If you're going with something like your the sign out front's got 14 letters total with 2 spaces. So I mean, you're talking 2-inch letters on that is normal. They've stretched this one higher so they could get more fit more on it. But yeah, I mean, I'd be glad to lay it out and propose it to y'all, send it to you, and let you look at it.
Yeah, if you'll just fill that out, and then I'll attach what you gave it to us.
Okay.
Turn it in.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other citizens input? If not, we'll move on from there. Number 6, consent agenda items. Council, you all got your packet. Looking at a motion for approving A through M.
I think we need to pull out a couple of the March minutes. There's an error in item 9 that shows the Celia's vote was recorded incorrectly. And that should show that it was a no vote. And I'd also like to, I didn't see a public works director
In the packet?
Yeah. When did that, you look like you submitted one.
Yeah.
When did that go in?
This morning.
This morning?
Yeah.
So that's why these come out on Friday. So we got to make sure all that stuff is in that Dropbox by Friday. So are you making a motion to approve minus those 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
I got a motion and a second.
Judge Kobe.
Randy Lindsay.
Greg Sprinkle.
Judge Shem.
Cecilia Irvin.
Motion passed. I'm not real sure if we're not hearing that very good. I want to make sure those notes are taken so that Mary gets those. Okay. Doesn't always pick everybody's voice up right. Okay, we'll move on from there. Number 7, old business. Discuss the new Opportunity Zone program calls for governors to identify their target sites by July 1st, 2026, and for 4 programs to officially open for investments on January 1st, 2027. Need to lobby information from the governor's office. James, that's yours.
Yeah. So this is mainly for the benefit of Chris, city administrator. So we went through this in the last meeting. I can just pass it on. So Chris, Chris.
Yes, sir.
This is for you basically. So this city was part of the Opportunity Zone previously for
Okay.
5 years at least. Now it's time again to get into this. system or opportunity zone there.
Okay.
So they went through some kind of an analysis. There are two criteria for a city to pass to get into the system. We passed one of the two, we automatically passed. So we could be in the system, but we don't know. Finally, it's a political decision, I would think, by the governor. But if you can, or we can influence them somehow, we can probably get into it. That'll attract a lot more investments into the city. So I don't think there's a whole lot you can do, but at least you can talk to them, talk to the governor's office, and see where we are and if there is anything we can do. That's all we are asking.
Absolutely.
So,
If I understand it right, this is usually done more on the county level. And what little bit I was able to find out, it doesn't look like our county judge even got involved in it this year. So, yeah, it'd be nice to kind of dig into it and see.
yeah, that's
There's
what we're
no-
trying to do.
There's no motion to be made, so it was just discussion.
Right.
Okay,
So that's that.
all right, so we'll move on from there. There's nothing else?
Nothing else, sir.
Okay. B, the council had conducted performance reviews for the department heads. All the department heads did reviews for their direct reports. Please provide a copy of those to the new city administrator. James, that's you again.
So it's again for discussion for the benefit of city administrator. So we did a performance review of all, the council did a performance review of all of the department heads, and they did a review of their employees afterwards. You should get a copy of it, and once you get a copy, that's a good excuse for you to call, all of these employees, sit in front of them, talk to them, casually. There's nothing, no actions to be taken. Performance reviews were approved. The council, the department heads, they're all doing an excellent job. That's what that was our rating, all of them. So they all worked really hard, but the employees, we never talk to them directly, but it's for you to talk to them, get to know them. So that's all it is, man. It's for you to have a discussion with them. There's no action to be taken other than that.
I appreciate that. Can anyone tell me about when these reviews were done?
About 2 months ago, and Mary should have all that to be able to hand over to you.
Gotcha.
Seems like they were before the end of the fiscal year.
Were they?
Yeah.
Seems like they were October time frame.
Because I wasn't a part of it.
Okay,
Okay.
my apologies. So it's a little longer than that, but Mary does have it all.
That's all I have. Nothing else.
Okay?
No.
All right, we'll move on from there. 8, new business. Discussion and or action on zoning map amendments. An amendment to the official zoning map to reclassify 2 parcels currently zoned manufactured home subdivisions, district to general commercial. District consists of the city comprehensive plan and future land use map. Partial A, 1120 Wilson Jackson Tract 17-3 containing 14.44 acre located on Mays Lane, West Walkeny, Texas, and partial 2, A 1120 Wilson Jackson Tract 17-1 containing 1.99 acres located at 500 Mays Lane, West Walkeny, Texas 75474. You want to do it again?
Sir. Good evening, council. It is great to meet with y'all again. As you know, the zoning ordinance was brought to you back in January. We adopted the ordinance and the map at that point in time. After the adoption, all these documents were sent over to Bureau Veritas, y'all's plan inspector. And in that process, they noticed a few discrepancies as well as Shannon noticed the map discrepancy. So on the map that we have a few copies and we can pass around, there's 2 parcels on Mays Lane that were accidentally marked as manufactured previously that on the future land use map and on all the other versions of the zoning map were commercial, but in between version 5 and version 7, something went wrong and it accidentally got switched over to manufactured. So that issue was resolved. And then additionally, within the text with the subdivision regulations that we also adopted back in January, we acknowledged that the side setbacks would be one thing, but then in the zoning ordinance, we assigned them a different size. So that error was brought wasn't necessarily an error. It was just something that was different that Bureau Veritas caught and asked the city, do y'all want to leave it this way or would we rather make them the same? At that point, it was given to Shannon to let's make them the same. So I went ahead and made those revisions to the ordinance. So that is what both public hearing items are in relation to from PMI. And I can take any questions on either of those if you might have them.
Any questions, guys?
No. Make a motion, we approve the zoning map amendment.
I've got a motion on the table to approve
I'll second it.
and a second. All in favor?
Let's go.
Greg Sprinkle.
James, yeah.
Cecilia Irvin.
Motion passed. We'll move on from there. B, discussion or action on text amending to the zoning ordinance as amended to the Article 14.300 and related district regulations to revise interior side yard setbacks requirements within the adopted zoning ordinance standards. She's already gone over that. Any additional questions? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve.
I've got a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Let's go.
Randy Newman. Greg Sprinkle.
James, yeah.
Cecilia Irvin.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Council. That journey.
All the, Chris, if you, at the end, all these maps, and Shannon's not here, if you'll put them up until she gets in. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on from there. Number C, discussion and or action to approve or deny requests from site plans approved for property owned by Philip Penelopoulos. Sorry about that, guys. Probably not saying that right. Located at 140 West Highway 276, West Waukene, Texas. Property ID 101884. Legal description A0418. Hassel Zachary Tract 6-1. Acreage .951. Zone Commercial C. The request to approve site plans.
I
You guys have the site plans.
I saw it. I have a question though. So this went through, this site plan went through Bureau or Veritas or somebody to look at, they looked at it, right?
Yes,
Did they? And it's approved by them?
I'm sorry.
And it's approved by them?
The previous meeting I went to 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure what meeting that was.
Planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning, okay, so, planning and zoning, approved that, with exception of the one, exit on the north side of the property.
And that exit on the north side of the property was
Right,
real
right,
estate.
yeah,
I mean,
residential.
residential.
I don't have anything else.
Council?
Anybody else? Make a motion now?
Yeah, nothing else you want to throw in? All right,
Yes, you have
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the request for site plan approval by the property owned by Philip Panopoulos.
I'll second it.
I've got a motion
I'll second it.
and a second. All in favor?
Let's go.
Greg Sprinkle.
James, yeah.
Cecilia Irvin.
Motion passed. How about are we screwing up the name?
Don't have a clue. I can't say it either.
All right.
I'll be in touch with Shannon. Yeah, okay. You're gonna say it, might as well say it out loud.
Right.
But no, if you haven't met Philip, he's a very nice young man, trying to get into the development program.
Well, we appreciate him taking our ideas and making it work for him.
You bet,
So that he can have something on that property.
you bet. And he's got a gentleman in Dallas that's helping him out. It's a company called the Jordan Company.
Oh, good.
They own several hundred thousand square feet of commercial
Yeah.
real estate in the Dallas area. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Yep. Okay, we'll move on from there. D, discussion or actions to approve Amanda Laughlin to keep West Waukene beautiful board. She is not here.
I know where I can make a motion, even if she's not here.
Okay, if you're
I
comfortable
make a
making a
motion,
motion.
I make a motion, we approve Amanda Laughlin to keep West Waukene.
Got a motion and a second?
Let's go.
Greg Sprinkle.
James, yeah.
Cecilia Irvin.
Motion passed. Move on from there. E, update from Mary Hall with Keep West Walking Beautiful activities, and Mary is not with us. Well, she's not here in the, looks like.
No longer with us.
I did not say no longer, she's not here with us. We need to table that, guys. I'll entertain
I
a
make a
motion.
motion, we table the Keep West Walking Beautiful update for Mary Hall's return.
Got a motion and a second from James. All in favor?
Greg Sprinkle.
Motion passed, we'll table that. Moving on from there, F, discussion and or action on resolution number 407.1.14.2026. A resolution established guidelines for the city council governance staff, instructions and audit oversight, classifying roles and committee communication protocols and support consist transparent and effective city operations.
I do got something to say before you read that. I want to begin by clearly stating what this resolution is and what it is not. This resolution does not create new authority, does not remove authority from any elected official. It's not political in nature. This resolution establishes clear, written boundaries for how the city operates based on legal standards that already exist, so that we are no longer operating in gray areas. Currently, there are situations where staff are approached outside of formal meetings, where direction is given informally, where enforcement actions or audit involvement may appear inconsistent or unclear. This places staff in a difficult position. When multiple elected officials provide direction, or when direction occurs outside of properly posted meeting, staff are left to determine what is authorized and who they are obligated to follow. That is neither fair to staff nor consistent with proper governance. Decisions affecting enforcement, audits, and city operations are intended to occur in open meetings on the record through the governing body. This resolution formalizes that process. It provides staff with clear guidance. It protects members of this council from acting outside established legal boundaries. It ensures consistency, transparency, and accountability in how the city conducts its business. If current practices are already aligned with these standards, this resolution will not change operations. It will simply document them. If they do not, this resolution provides the framework necessary to correctly standardize those practices. At its core, this resolution is about transparency, accountability, protecting both city staff and the integrity of the governing body.
So I'd just like to throw out there that I know things have been kind of crazy since we didn't have a city administrator. It's been kind of everybody just trying to get things done. Now that we have a city administrator, everything should be going through him. Anything to do with the operations, problems around the city. So as long as we're doing that, we should be good to go.
I'm gonna say too, Chad gave me a lot to work with. I kind of blended two ideas to put this together. I know you guys got it today, but this is, I think that what Chris said is correct. We are doing a lot of this already, but it just does more formally say, you know, the direction of the city employees would go through city administrator or his process or their designate for, you know, that kind of thing. Information requests, or requests for work to be performed would go through city administrator, city secretary, or the designee, but that it does not restrict or otherwise curtail any of the constitutional authority that is bestowed upon the council or the mayor. Okay, it is really a direction for management of day-to-day operations. Okay, required training. You are actually required already to take Open Meetings Act training, Public Information Act training within 30 days of taking office. What we did here is also indicate we're going to adopt an annual governance and ethics refresher, but that yearly you would need to retake these. I do think these are really short little courses that I'll put on my TML, so this is not going to be a super burdensome thing. Okay. If this is something you guys want to do, I think it's also a good idea, especially with public information, for everybody to always be reminded of any communications from a city official can be requested. Okay, yeah. So be mindful of that. The other is the audit oversight. I think that really this was a one I kind of maybe simplified a little bit, but it was audits that are performed already in compliance with section 103 of the local government code, you're required to do them. We all know this. It hasn't happened historically sometimes. But we are required, but that it's initiated by the city council, which is the law. And that we can't, basically, this is just, again, direction to have our city administrator be the person who kind of initiates the contracting and starting that process. But that the council itself would be the one that would hire formally.
Which is what we did, right?
Yeah, we just kind of all went over a little overboard, not just there, but just in general, trying to help keep everything running. I think each one of us have had to, at one point, go to JD or John to try to help make sure things were running. That was why we wanted to get an administrator. So now we have somebody to run this city day in and day out.
The rumor
I
has,
agree 100% with the spirit of it.
the rumor has it that's going around is that Ramsey's doing the audits or involved in the audits.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh on that, but I think we all know better
I'm
than
not
that.
sure where that comes from. I have sat in on their weekly stand-up meeting, and listened. But I'm not doing anything with the audit. We voted as a council to hire Dale Bell.
You're not on the email or anything for the audit?
He is on the email, just, it was his legacy,
But
so.
being in an audit, you shouldn't be involved in any of that, as far as that goes.
So being involved versus getting the ball rolling, and I understand you handed it over to
Right,
Chris
but
already.
asking for stuff from the city secretary to give to the CPA should not be allowed.
That's not right.
You're not doing that?
And I think, we didn't have a city administrator for a long time. So
But that's
all
the
of us,
secretary's job, not
Yeah,
for
no,
the
the-
council.
But I think this is what
The
you're
auditor-
doing.
the
That's
auditor-
beyond authority.
the auditor
This is
provided-
what you're doing is a good thing. I only have one question here. Did you write it all by yourself or you? Oh, okay.
He wrote and she
Yeah.
rewrote.
Okay. That's good. It's a good thing.
No,
So,
we-
number one, I want to point out, we didn't get this today, we got it at the meeting. Right, so, yeah, hey, you got time to read it, if you
No,
got
I
time
know.
to read it between all the others, and, if the purpose of the city administrator was to wrangle all this in and bring it all in, why do we need a resolution if we have a city administrator?
Well, the resolution's already what the law is. That's how it's supposed to be ran to begin with.
I have a question about why do we need a resolution if that's already the law, that's already the process?
Just to make sure everybody follows it.
We need a law to tell everybody to follow
It's
the
not a
law.
law, it's because we got the
Just puts it on paper.
lawyer here, she can tell us if we need it or not.
Well, one thing it does definitely change is the annual taking of the classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a more frequent than what you would be already by law. It does also be any sort of ethics retraining, training courses. That would be in addition to what is already statutorily mandated. So that would definitely be something that you guys, if you want to do, that would be an extra thing that was over and above what the law was requiring you to do. Now, with that said, I will say anytime you run for office and you retake your seat, you are still required to do that upon the new term. So you're really looking at making it yearly versus every 2 years for that. As far as that, what you guys, because you are not a home rule city, you have hired an administrator, and the council is who empowers the administrator to make these choices. As we're a home rule city, that's already more automatic. So that is why you would be doing some of that, is to make sure that you are actually authorizing your administrator to manage. I think you have some of that already in ordinances.
And I've asked Chris to take a look. I know that ordinances are way out there, but I've asked him to take a look at what's already there. Before we start throwing more or amending, let's make sure what we're looking at and what we're amending, so.
There is at least one, basically making the city administrator position official. It's decades old. It doesn't conflict at all with this. It's much more general. But yeah, you have something on the books. This is This is a much more rigorous framework.
Any other questions? I know you haven't had a chance to review it. You know, table it and give yourself a chance to review it and bring it back up in the next meeting. How do y'all want to handle it?
I read it, but
I will say, I don't think that it does anything particularly outlandish or egregious, so that's gonna act as a big surprise to anybody. I'm a cautious human, so I try not to steer away from that kind of thing.
I'll make a motion, we pass the resolution 407.4.14.2026.
I've got a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
I second it.
I've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Guys, copy?
Ranger Lindsay.
Yes.
Cecilia Irvin.
Motion passed 4-1. All right, we'll move on from there. G, discussion and or action to adopt a resolution establishing minimum reporting and documentation requirements for regular city council meeting packets. Ramsey Lindsay.
So I think with just a couple of statements here, I'll table that.
Okay.
But, because this is really something for Chris to handle. What I had put forth is what I'd like to see in that, in the packet, because, well, we've not been getting consistent financial reports. I mean, even in this packet, as we went through and looked, there are differences in the adopted budget amounts and our budget to actual in several places. And we've got some of the documents in PDF, some of the spreadsheets, probably a no-no, because that can be altered. PDF would give it to us something that's set in stone. So I want to leave that to Chris to handle it.
But I like to add something too, that's a good idea. This time it's like a spaghetti, we just have so many documents. If you can arrange the documents in the same sequence as the agenda, it makes it a lot easier for all of us.
So what I'd recommend, if you're gonna table it, I would recommend maybe
I'm just asking
getting
you
an
to
email
Yeah.
to Chris and Mary on what you would like to see. If there's a certain order or whatever, then give him a chance to do all that.
I do think it's a good idea to do a resolution that establishes a minimum guideline for what should be in those kinds of packets, so.
Again, we already have one that we need to amend.
Make a motion of it.
So, all right, I'll make a motion that we have, that we create a resolution that will document or will spell out a minimum set of documents for our packet format for those documents.
Second that.
And I just add that, we want these documents in the same sequence as the.
Yeah, and
So
that'll be
he's
covered,
making a motion.
that'll be covered in the format.
So if there's some way, get that in an email so that, but he's making a motion for it, so
A second.
I've got a motion and a second.
Oh, the second.
All in favor?
Randy Lindsay?
Yes.
Cecilia Irvin.
Motion passed. All right, moving on from there, H, discussion and or action to hold off on proposed sale of various city properties so the city can explore options to leverage the current real estate assets to build a city hall. James Chimp.
So the council had approved sale of certain properties in the past. Certain properties that we own, we put on the market. So it has not, to my understanding, it has not been put on the market yet, but I'm just asking not to cancel the previous resolution, but to delay it or hold off on it so that we were talking about the city hall. And one of the properties we think is ideal for it is that property that PBC holds. So if we can swap one of our property, one or more of our properties with them, then we take that for a city hall in the future, and then we can sell the rest of it. So I just wanted you to just hold off on it until we have a discussion. Maybe you and I have a discussion with BBC. They have to go through their process and agree on maybe swapping their property with one of ours. Did you understand what I'm saying?
I do, can I ask you a question? Well, you've got several residential properties that EDC wouldn't have any real need or desire for to use. So I don't know that you need to necessarily hold off on the sale of everything that you're talking about, where you might just still proceed with the kind of the random residential ones. If you're thinking about swapping like a commercial property for what you want to look at for the city hall. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
Okay.
Maybe we should move forward with all the properties except the one that we're talking about doing.
Yeah, that was.
I say except all of the residential ones, the residences.
Yeah, all residential, because there's an opportunity cost, those things are taxable.
Yeah. Do we make a motion then? What, Mayor?
Yes. So he's gonna have to, but you don't have property addresses. You
Yeah.
don't know which one you're wanting to.
No, I'm saying all residentials, they can move
What
forward
is
with
the
it.
one that you're wanting to swap, you're thinking about?
But we don't know yet. I mean, that they have to go through their process. You know, they have a governing body, they have to decide, but we'll give them options.
But what we have though, we should know which ones that they would even find eligible.
We really haven't got a list of our properties yet and their values and where they are. And before we,
I think the rest of them.
I know, I was saying,
Yeah.
but I would really like to have those listed in front of me before I vote on
Yeah.
doing anything with them. I mean, let's say, okay, hey, this is the one we want to hold on to because we believe this is the most valuable. These are the ones that we know that are not going to be, the EDC is not going to be interested in. Let's wait until we have a list of the properties. I know we just last month got the list of properties and the estimated value of them. So before we really act on this, I'd rather have that list of properties in front of me that I can say I'm making an informed decision.
That's essentially, that's what I'm saying. Until you have the information, let's hold off on selling anything or listing anything. Just wait.
We can't sell, I mean, we can't sell it without putting it on listing it individually anyway.
We have actually voted on this in the past.
Right, but we didn't vote on any of the residential property.
No, we did.
Yeah, it's all included in the sales. I'm saying,
Okay.
just hold off on
It's
it.
like a
Until
group
we
of
can
six,
figure it out.
six.
You know, I'm just asking for a little time, not saying you can do this or you can do that. I'm saying, here a little bit of time, like you can look at it, I can look at it, Mayor can look at it, everybody else can look at it and say, yeah,
Okay.
that's one of it.
I need the list of those properties because I have no clue where we're talking about.
It was prior to you, yeah, but we, I want to say like 6 months ago or so. Yeah.
I can't vote on it if I don't even know what we're talking
So
about.
that's what I'm saying, let's make a motion that we delay that process until we have all the information.
Yeah.
Is that okay? So make a motion, I make a motion to delay the sale of city-owned properties until the council has a full understanding of the value and the list of all of those properties. So it could be a month or two, but we have to have all of that information, all of the council members. Until then, we delay it.
Should he add in there for her to get us that list?
It's gonna be fast, just got it a minute. But yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's all of them, we just need to.
So
Start with the
include
design.
it in your motion for them to get us a copy of that.
We ask the city administrator to give us copies of all of those properties that are available.
I've got a motion and a second.
Let's go.
Correct, Frank.
Yes, sir.
Cecilia Irvin.
Motion passed. All right, moving on. I, Discussion on our action on ordinance number 339.4.14.2026, an ordinance of the city of West Walkeny, Texas, and amending city of West Walkeny Code Ordinance Chapter 3, Building Regulations, Section 8, Signs, Established Regulations, and prohibiting billboards, changeable electrical variable messages, signs, and other off-premise signs within the city limits and the external jurisdiction of the city. Establish a fine of no more than $500 per violation, therefore, and providing for the following finding of facts, amendment, sorry guys, effective date, and property notice of meeting. Shannon is not here.
I do have some concerns. So she's not here, but we need to table it. I have a few concerns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I talk about it?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
So one of them said the size of the signage cannot be more than 36 square feet, which is so small. That's one. The signs we have are much, much bigger. That's one. Second, when it says a static image, it cannot have lighting, it's saying. So from external, I can understand it, but internal lighting, that we need to talk about. In another place, exempt sign, I like to add real estate sales signs as exempt. We just can, they can wait until we go through our city motions and approvals. Let's like to add that. In one place it says consumed, where it should have meant confused. Things like that. I like to go through it in detail, make some edits, and bring it back.
And the letter size, obviously.
Huh?
The letter size is a problem.
I have one kind of serious question. So I've gone through this, and in fact, was responsible for exchanging one of the big sections in it, but I don't know what the council's really wanting to do with what we call off-premises signs, which is, there's a difference in what is like an on-premise sign versus an off-premise. An on-premise is you're advertising your business at your facility. The off-premise is a billboard. Okay.
Right.
I don't know if we are asking, if ultimately this is allowing them, and I don't know if you guys are actually wanting to say we don't want to allow any new billboards at all.
So this only affects.
That's what it says.
No, it affects everything, but like I said, this is written in a way that it does allow for billboards under certain circumstances. You have to be very careful when you're regulating even, advertising. You can do a ban on new billboards, but you can't make it specific to certain types of speech, certain types of advertising, you've got to be careful. You can't, this doesn't ban like political advertisements as far as somebody wants to put up yard signs and things like that. That kind of stuff, that's all protected. You do, like I said, you do have to be pretty cautious. One thing that I have seen, I was looking into this, it's a little bit dicey to go in and regulate the ETJ. If you're going to say, I want no billboards in the ETJ, that is, yes, we do have some jurisdiction over it, but it is really extending out a little outside of what I would feel comfortable with us actually regulating. Does that make some sense?
Yes.
It's just,
Makes sense.
This says a changeable electronic variable message sign. So that means that who the city assets come down to?
No, because they're grandfathered in.
Well, it doesn't say that either.
I know.
it
doesn't say
does.
that either.
Well,
No.
There's existing.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I didn't see a clear statement. That's why I wanted to go through it
It-
clearly. And I think from what I can understand, usually it's billboards and things like that, that's prohibited. That's what I read. I mean, that's what I at least understood.
That's the way I understood it, the billboards were prohibited.
So we want to allow them, we got to put the right language in it.
Well, then do we? That's the question.
No,
do
no,
we
no,
want
I'm
that?
not.
Yeah, I know, okay.
I'm not either way. I'm not.
I would prefer not to have billboards running up.
Yeah, I would too.
Okay.
Actually, it's such a small city, we just don't have enough space for 5 billboards.
I'm hoping people will stop and look at the stuff on our streets on the way through when we get downtown.
Right.
revitalized, not look up at the billboards on their way through.
But then they're there with the city, not necessarily with ETJ.
If we can't control the ETJ, we can't control the ETJ. We're less worried about that than I am the city.
I think that's fair. That's, but I wanted to make sure we were all on the same page because that's an important.
So all I just need is a little bit of time so I can go through it, edit it, sit down with Shannon or somebody or talk about it.
This is part of do you have anything to do with this?
I thought so.
You got any input?
Well, that was the reason that I jumped on it, was that I didn't want billboards up and down 276 off premises. People can advertise for their businesses. I mean, that's one thing. And maybe I didn't read it as far as the size of the signs for the businesses. And I think that's what he was addressing maybe. I personally don't want to see a bunch of billboards down 276, and that's what started this whole thing. And so,
The focus is no billboard. Okay, and that's fair.
Maybe you and I can collaborate and work on it.
Can we make it just about billboards and not about other signs?
Well, the
Tackle
other
one
side-
thing at a time or something?
It's better to handle them in one, I think.
I think you gotta be careful with the flashing light signs and things that are distracting.
My billboards
Yeah,
on there.
I think it talks about all of that actually too. But when I was worried about 36 square feet, is it one side or both sides together?
4 foot by 8 foot is 32 square feet. It's a pretty good size sign.
No, 36, no.
I know, but 4 by 8 is 32 square feet, and that is 4 square feet bigger than that.
What is 4 by 8, right?
4 by 8 is 32.
One side. But if you say that 32 is both sides, then you only have 60 on one side.
I think it's 32, I think it's 36 square feet that you're facing, right? I mean,
No, it doesn't say that.
It doesn't say that.
no.
That makes sense.
So that's why I want clarity into all of this.
Okay, so it sounds like we got a little bit more work to do with it.
Right.
I mean,
Maybe can we work together and then,
Yeah, I mean, this is your project. So it sounds like maybe we want to do a little bit more to it. If y'all want to team up and continue to get Shannon and Robbie could probably have some input. That's what he does for a living.
Can we say, because my concern is we spend 2-3 months on this and somebody throws up a billboard between now and then.
I think we can pretty quickly get,
do.
because we've already got it,
No,
we've already really
we
got
gotta
it.
have another meeting. We have to have another meeting before we can.
hang on, she's gonna tell us something.
We've already got a working ordinance. I don't think that you're into a big delay. I think if we get some good ground rules pretty quickly, we can turn it around. Are y'all still doing 2 meetings?
Yes.
So I think we can get it turned around by the next meeting, get updates if you guys will tell me what you want to do.
Okay.
You know,
If you're gonna table it, I would table it till then.
Mhm.
Sir?
I mentioned something too. You may want to, it's really kind of important to consider what a billboard is, how big is that billboard? So be sure that you guys work that out too. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just trying to give you, some ideas, because some people could construe a billboard as being a 5 by 10 or a 10 by, whatever. So the billboard needs to be sized also.
Do you know Robbie
Well,
Smith?
No.
Robbie, do you have a card you'll leave on your way out? And then definitely pick his brain on it.
Yeah, because we're talking about off premises billboards, not advertisements for the.
We don't want a 10 by 30 sign in front of in front of a business either. Do we?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I mean, if a billboard to me is 10 by 30.
But this also
Well,
says size limitations.
It's not very.
Yeah, I mean, if we do a size limitation and y'all say 40 square feet is the tops, then instead of 32 or 36, then
we don't want billboards, we say we don't want it.
that's what he's saying.
It's
is
not, we don't have it defined as billboard either, I
It's
apologize,
size.
right? It's off premise is really what we
That's what it
consider
is.
it.
That's what it
Yeah,
is.
off premise is really what you're saying is a billboard, and it's that.
But I'm saying I don't want a 10 by 30 on premise.
Well, no, and that's there too.
Not for this
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
And we keep saying off premise, but we're really limiting signs, period.
There's different sections of the
Yes.
Yeah.
proposed ordinance.
Okay, we'll work together on this.
Okay, and then if it's okay, I'll continue the email that we
Yeah,
got
absolutely.
going.
Perfect.
Okay.
We make a motion?
Yep.
Make a motion to, table this this particular item until, Cecilia and I can work together
The next meeting.
on a draft. Next meeting.
We make,
Next
we
meeting?
make that,
When is next meeting?
Yeah.
When is next meeting?
28th.
28th?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I was just gonna say, let's move this on quickly, let's.
So
28th.
you're motioning to table it until the 28th.
Until the 28th, yes, sir.
Okay. I've got a motion on the table to table it until our next meeting on the 28th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Ted Coe.
Craig Sprinkle.
James, yeah.
Cecilia Urban.
Motion passed. Okay.
Pushed out further and further.
Huh?
I said, it just keeps getting pushed out further and further.
No, it's part of.
All right, we'll move on from there. Jay, discussion on our, discussion and or action on resolution 408.4.14.2026 regarding a contract for a proposal of financing a code enforcement vehicle. Shannon is not here. You up to date with this?
She showed me some of the quotes she has and she's been how the financing works, so, if the budget's okay with it, I'm okay with it. She's using a vehicle that's not really fully appropriate for what she's doing, so,
Yeah, currently she's using one of the,
yeah, they need to get it back.
yeah, Public Works old trucks.
I make a motion that we, get the financing and do the contract for the code enforcement vehicle.
I'd like to see some pricing.
It's about
I mean, what are
50
we
grand, it's
talking
about
about?
50 grand. They're gonna buy it, and then they're gonna finance it through the Texas financing fees.
When I was in Sulphur Springs, those guys drive the smaller trucks like the
Yeah.
Rangers and the
I
average.
mean, why does it have to be a full-size truck?
They're like
Is my question.
25, 30 grand, close to 50 grand.
Yeah.
What did it say that again?
Like, when I was over in Sulphur Springs, working on their water tower, they're driving the smaller trucks like the Mavericks or the Ford Rangers instead of the full-size trucks. They're about half the price.
Half the price.
Has everybody had a chance to review the resolution in your packet? It was in the packet, correct?
No, I don't remember seeing anything. Other than this.
Did she leave a copy of it?
We could get our soccer truck.
No. Like, where'd it go?
She's gonna get me.
Oh,
Thank you,
oh,
Robert.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, I don't know. I have
I
that.
managed to hit two people because I immediately said no. I
She said no.
was like, oh.
We tried.
Give us just a minute. He went to go pull a copy of that resolution. It's not in there.
I don't think I haven't seen it either. I was thinking I was.
Do we know anything more than we're trying to do that? Are we up against any kind of deadline?
No, I don't think so. Are you looking at just putting it like interest in thinking?
How much are you up to date with it all?
3-4 weeks, I got asked about it. So not that up to date.
It might be smart, especially with her not here to be able to explain everything, to be able to table it. If he's able to get a copy of the resolution, we'll have it.
We won't know what it,
Yeah,
we won't know the particulars.
We need the pricing and all that too, how much it would cost.
well, the resolution should tell us what amount we're gonna finance it.
There's no amount on there. I think.
Oh.
It just asks for, approval for financing.
Definitely needs to be tabled.
So table. I make a
Okay,
motion.
go ahead.
I make a motion, we table, discussion and or action on a resolution regarding a contract for the purpose of financing a code enforcement vehicle.
Give me 5 before we second, because he's taking notes, just in case it's not recording right. He'll be right back. Sorry, guys.
Resolutions in the Dropbox, but I'm making a copy.
Okay, no, they're gonna table it, so I didn't know if you were taking notes, so I stopped him for a second.
Okay, thanks.
Ramsey,
Hello.
all right, I've got a motion to table
And a second.
and a second by Chad. All in favor?
Ted Coe.
Greg Springer.
Cecilia Irvin.
Motion passes. Okay, we'll move on from there. Number 9, budget review workshop. A, review of the 2025-2026 budget year to date. Again, we don't have Mary here. Not sure that we have everything we need unless you guys,
You're not up to the date with that, right?
I've done some review of the budget, but mostly looking for specific things that we're trying to get funded quickly. I've had a couple of discussions with council members over specific questions they've had. I would appreciate some time to get more familiar with it, but I'm always happy to answer questions or try to answer questions.
Can I throw in something else too?
yes.
You guys are gonna really, I'm begging you to start thinking about budget workshops going into the next year in like start in May. You'll be happier with yourself in August if you're not having to start it and really put the hammer down on it. So start really planning on it now.
Based on what I've seen so far, we could start next.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear it.
Mary and I have discussed a timeline that is significantly sooner than last year's timeline. I'd be respectfully suggesting that city council entertain some strategic planning discussions, maybe through a separate workshop before we actually start looking at a budget, so that we can prioritize. We have a lot of priorities that we've been talking about. I'd like for us to kind of hash through those before we start putting numbers to them.
So I have two things, and since John's here, I want to bring those up, okay? Because you'll need to get with Chris to work on these. The first one is under insurance. Your budget in the document we received says $64,987. That's what this says. The adopted budget that we took in was $54,166. I'm curious how, I need to know how we got a different number in the budget packet we got today, or for today, is $10,000 or almost $11,000 more than what the adopted budget was. I don't remember doing a budget amendment. I don't remember, and I don't know that you know. I just want to. We need to know, right?
I didn't know it was.
I don't know it, but the numbers are different. The other thing is on that, the police department has only spent in 5 months 1.76% of that budget. You've made, according to the documents we received, you've made one $1,142 payment to your insurance fund. That, to me, there's either posting errors or there's delayed posting or something that is amiss, right? And then the other, and that, since these are employee benefits things, are important to us. The other one is that in the TMRS in here, you had 0 budget available. And that's on us because we did not budget well for you, because you clearly have TMRS payments. You've made $4,456 worth of them, but you didn't have a budget to do it with. So can we figure out how we make sure you get the budget taken care of?
The budget up, and on that part, like insurance and stuff, like Mary does it now. She's been doing the calculating the insurance, the retirement, TMRS, and all that, and then giving the numbers we need to add to the budget. Watching them, James does the paying out.
Yeah. I'm worried that it's going to be August or September, and we're going to still be at 1.76% spent, and we're not going to have the money to pay it. You know what I mean? If we don't allot for it or account for it or accrue it in the right time period, then we're not taking it from the accounts that show money, and at some point we wind up with money we think we have, but we don't really have it. And so, at the end of the year, and there are some clear problems with the amounts that we put into some of the categories. based on 42% gone and 98% already used with 5 months gone, that I'm really concerned that at the end of the year, there will be no money there to do those things that we have fallen behind or lagged on. But since those two were in the police department, I thought I would bring those up. But, general liability and property insurance in the police department, you spent 70% of your budget in 42% of the year. Maybe we just pay 6 months at a time, and that's how it looks. But I'd kind of like us to have a better handle on where we are as we move into the second half of the year with only less than half of the money left.
A lot of the payments on police departments are like cops and stuff, we make one-time payment. But once it goes into the budget and then it's paid, so 100% of it's gone out of that. So that's how it means.
That needs to be reflected on the documents we review. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You may be doing it 100% right. It may not be showing up for us that way, but I can't tell that by, because I don't see your computer. Help us out. Help me not look at this and go, oh my gosh, how are we going to pay the rest of the year?
Accounts and look up. Him or any one of them can look up and see the actual budget from.
I mean,
My computer.
I'm pulling it from FundView. That's the document I'm pulling it from, is from FundView. So
That's the way.
I don't want us to get into a situation at the end of this year where we don't have money to put in TMRS, or we don't have money to buy diesel fuel, or we don't have money to do what we need to do.
100%. I'm sure that it's continued as it has over the years that we've tried to hone in on is things not getting categorized right.
I have a question, since I wasn't on the council during the budget last year. To save time when we actually are going over it, is there some way I can meet with someone to understand what some of these categories are and what's going into them? I mean, who would I meet with on that?
Mary.
Mary? Okay. I'll set up one note.
We need a little bit more rigor. That's good.
Okay, so how do we want to handle it? It's just review, so there's nothing to be done there.
Without Mary and
Yeah.
without Mary here. Turn it up.
If I may, I would propose that we repeat this item in the next meeting, and I'll take some time with Mary to go through some of the general issues that you bring up, and then I'll take time with department heads over their individual budgets, so that we should be able to get you a more comprehensive review next
Yeah,
time.
so can we get this number also sooner, with less than 6 weeks difference between when the book closed and when we're looking at it? I mean, it's, this is from February the 28th, it's April the 14th, and
I'll look at that. I don't know if there's some reconciliation that she does in between that she would rather not.
yeah, it just seems like it would be much, much more beneficial if we were a little closer to the date that we were working.
Typically like to review budgets within a month.
So is the 28th, which is our next meeting, is that enough time for y'all to do that?
We'll be through March for that. Yeah, we should be able to meet and resolve. If we can get away with it, I would take questions via email that we can hopefully answer before the next review. And then, of course, you'll get fresh numbers because this is March. Well, no, it's February, right? Yeah, we should be able to get you March and also answer questions.
So would it help if we sent you some of the questions that we've
Absolutely.
identified?
Feel free. Yeah. You'll understand that the answers may not come until we get to your.
Well, I would like to table that we.
So there's actually not a motion there.
Oh.
So who asked to have this put on here?
I did.
Would you just
So did Sue.
send an email asking to make sure it gets put on the next one? There's no motion to be made. Good?
Good.
All right, council, we're good. We'll move on from there. Number 10, legacy project progress. A, discussion or possible action items updated from council place 1.
I need to get with Chris now that he's here on mine, actually have him set up a meeting or phone meeting with you.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Mhm. Pretty much all of them?
Yep.
So no motion, nothing to be made there. We can move on. B, discussion of possible action on updates from Council Place 2.
Basically, everything on my list is either audit or grant dependent. And until we get through the audits and try to get some grant money, there's really nothing else.
Any idea how that software's going? Or if you got the software?
You know, we did, we looked at the software. We identified a couple of, the new development up by, what's the name?
By the donut store.
Yeah, back behind it. They didn't have that included in the city limit. And so their shape file was not right. Shannon brought that to their attention. They're gonna change that. At this point, there are no Airbnbs in that area, so, it really doesn't affect anything, but they're gonna come back with that. And then there were two other, things where they exempted some property because it looked like duplicate listings of the same property, but it had to do with some of the tiny houses that are actually individual property. And so they're going to straighten that data out. I wasn't real happy to see that those things, that those exemptions were just kind of done by, without asking more questions. But I do think it looks like it's going to be useful, because Shannon spends a couple hours a week just checking to see if new things have come on or gone off. And this whole.
Did it find anything new that she's found?
No, well, there was, I do think there was one that she didn't have on the list. I don't know if there was any else.
So we can't ask for an update on where the audits are since that was a project, like there was supposed to be 2 weeks and everything was scanned sort of thing? I mean, where are we on this? Do we not have the right to talk about that?
Good question. I removed myself from the email chain with the scanning and then I'll, Chris.
Yeah, we got an update, when was it, Thursday from, the scanning company?
I think that, yeah.
You wanted clarification on a few items, and he, at that time, said we had 90 boxes remaining, which is significant. And then we also, there was a matter of a list of requests from the auditor to the city secretary, several items that he wanted to try to get quicker so that he could move forward with his. And I know that she knocked out a good portion of that. I don't have the list in front of me. She's, out today, but before she went out of town last week, she handed off a lot of that to Jeannie. And I checked in with Jeannie this afternoon, and she's been able to make really good progress on that. So, try to get you some numbers soon, but I am seeing some movement.
Okay. And it, would you say the biggest item is the fixed asset list?
There's a significant concern about a lack of information available over our fixed asset inventory. We have asked the previous auditor for 21-22 to make all of their records available to our currently engaged auditor, so that if they have an inventory that they base their values on, that at least then our new auditor would have a starting point to move forward. But to the knowledge of Mary, myself, and the auditor, the current auditor, we do not have a reliable fixed asset inventory.
Can we get it from the previous audit?
I sure hope so. They came up with a number, so they should have a basis for that number. Of course, that's gonna be a 3-year-old number.
Yes.
And so, but going from there, we can use transactions from 23 to 26, well, 23 to 25 to add whatever, fixed assets, capital items should be added to that. That can be reconstructed accurately if the purchases were recorded accurately.
And then from there, we just have to do the useful life. depreciation.
Auditor does the depreciations and all that, yeah, exactly. We're going to find some procedural gaps over those years, and we need to prepare ourselves to do what we need to do to correct that.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Move on from there. C, discussion and possible action on updates from Council Place 3.
The park upgrades, everything's done except finishing the grills. The posts were put in today, this afternoon, and the tops will be put on tomorrow, is what I was told.
Yeah, we did set them today.
Yeah, so they set the posts today and they put the tops on tomorrow. Did you get the grill grates out of the box and put those at the Veterans Memorial?
I'm not sure on that.
Can you check, Chris, can you go and check on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we gonna paint it or sometime or what? Are we gonna paint them?
Does it mean there's gonna be a trash can by it or something, or what?
I'm sure,
There's trash cans by, yeah, I mean,
that shit there.
trash is not an issue at the Veterans Memorial.
No, he's talking about cleaning the grill.
For the grills, like, is there gonna be
Oh.
trash cans by the grill or like?
I don't leave trash cans out there,
Yeah, because
but they just overload them and then,
We learned a long time ago,
yeah,
less trash cans are actually better, surprisingly.
animals will come through and scatter all the trash, or they just start throwing trash on the ground when they get overloaded.
The dumpster's accessible, isn't it?
The dumpsters are successful, more successful than standalone trash cans.
But yeah, I'm sure cleaning the grates on the grills will be part of the keeping up with the park.
audit progress we've already talked about, and elementary school has not changed.
Nothing else?
Nothing else.
D, discussion and possible action on updates from Council Place 4.
A few things. Yeah. Pass it on.
What do you got there? You need to keep one for Mary. We need to make sure that any of these documents
I made
are
10 copies.
coming from her, that she has a copy of it,
Right.
but okay. Okay, so what are we looking at here?
So this is primarily again for the benefit of Chris. We went through this last time. So what we were thinking, Chris, you know where the Rabbit Cove Road is, right? So we were thinking about connecting your Texas 276 to Rabbit Cove Road. There are times when there's flooding or an accident that makes the Rabbit Cove Road impossible. So there is an emergency, fire, things like that, we just can't get to them. So that's the reason we're trying to connect it. So what, this is one of the ideas we had, that is, from 276, take Telephone Road, and on the other side, we have a Cove Drive. We could connect them, that's what I was thinking at least. You see that wiggly line? So if we were to connect them, then we have a path. So if you go to look at the other side of the document, you see the satellite image.
Right.
There's water. I went there actually, the second one, the one below that, I went there, look at it. There's a lot of water. So we gotta have some kind of a bridge or something else. We just can't build a road,
Who owns that property?
Huh?
That's all right.
That's already property.
That's the Bean River property.
I thought that there was also some private property there as well.
So
There's no
the
private property.
water on Rabbit Cove, are we doing ditch work? We're gonna be doing ditch work over there too?
Yeah, take that to Chris, yes, that's a plan.
Yeah, we actually, JD and I met with Graham today and we talked about that.
So, if you can talk to the Jacob and Martin, and see if they have an idea. I don't think we have to do a proposal or anything, but talk to them and see if there's another way to do this. But it's for you to take care of it. I think we should, there's not a whole lot I can do in this case. So I would say we take this off of my list too.
Yeah, we could explore the possibilities there with the engineers and come up with pros and cons of this plan, or if there's an alternative plan, and bring that back to council
Bring it back to council.
That's actually probably ought to make a motion on that
to direct.
to
Okay.
direct.
So I make a motion that the city administrator look into the connecting Highway 276 to Rabbit Cove Road, look at the different possibilities, talk to Jacob and Martin, and maybe even talk to some of the landowners, see if there is, maybe look at the Shenandoah and see if that can be extended up to the landowners and see. There are different possibilities. Maybe you can look into it, you can talk to them. There are only one or two landowners that you may have to talk to.
Shenandoah will not go for it.
Huh?
He won't. I've already talked to him.
Yeah, I am too, but, we'll explore it. That's my motion.
So I have a motion
I'll second that.
and a second. All in favor?
Chuck Shelby,
Greg Sprinkle.
James, yeah.
do it fair.
Cecilia Ernst.
Okay. Moving on from there, streetlights.
Next one.
You're still working on yours, right?
This is actually almost complete. So everybody on the council knows what this project is. For your benefit, Chris, we've had a lot of accidents on our streets. There's no light, people can see. We have had people killed, actually on 276 in front of the church. So we're thinking about getting street lighting, and the FTC, our electric company, has been working on it for more than about 2 months. This is what they came up with. This is at the top of it is their email to me. At the bottom is that spreadsheet that I made it and put it in there. So on Texas 276, we can put 20 new lights, and we have really no cost. They charge us $75 for a trip fee, and they do 4 or 5 lights in one day. So 75. I said they do 3 lights. So one trip, one light, you'd have to pay $25. So that's how I came up with these numbers. So the install cost in terms of trip fees is about $950 for all of these 38 lights combined. Then we have 2 100-watt lights on 276, for example. They're 100 watts, or they're not the Cobra type extending over to the street. They will convert it. And the incremental, we are paying monthly rent. The incremental rent is $4.25. So, and Maze Lane, we did the same thing. Rabbit Cove, we did the same thing. And City Park, they said that they would prefer to stay with the 100-watt LEDs.
Why are they only doing?
Huh?
Why are they only doing?
Budget 9. We have quite a few. Read the thing here. The City Park will be doing differently. We don't typically install Cobra lights. Stay with the 100-watt light. The fonts we gave already include a few 100-watt LEDs.
Will they replace those then? Because they don't work. The four lights that are in the park, they say there's 4 already there that work.
On the ball field?
No, not those lights, street light type.
on the poles.
I don't think so.
I don't think all 4 of them work. So I counted 9 poles that had FEC marking. So
He went and looked at them, and so this is what he came up with anyway, 4 new 100-watt LEDs. I can ask them to replace the 4, however many there are, replace them,
okay,
and then give us a proposal. This will become a proposal. next time.
Yeah, this is fine.
And then
Yeah, it's probably 4 new and 4 that are there.
four that are there.
Yeah, which there's probably a pole somewhere that doesn't really have electricity. It just has an FEC. It might be a pole that's in between
Okay.
power, maybe be carrying a power line.
They may not be working with it. If he came to get so,
So what you're looking for is coming back to council next time with a regular proposal.
yes, proposal from FPC. I'm gonna ask him to make this one change.
Okay.
That Greg said. And monthly cost increase is $449.
That's where I was gonna go next. I would make sure that we're working with Mary and Chris to figure out where in the budget it's gonna come from.
Right.
If we're gonna do it, to make sure we can pay for it.
That'll save a few lives. You know, we gotta find a.
Next time you talk to FEC, ask them when you enter the park and you go to the circle to the right, there's a pole there that has a white cord just hanging off of it in the tree, but it's attached to an FEC post.
No, I believe the one you're talking about is the ones that go to the ball field lights, and those are not FEC, if I
It's
remember
on
correctly.
the right side of the road.
Are they? Okay. It's on the right side of the.
No, it's on the right over off the.
Yeah, it's like, but down where the curve comes together before you go down toward the point.
Yeah.
There's one, I think that's the pole you're talking about.
And it's to do with the ball field light.
It had a ball field light up there, an outfield light out there, and it's just the wires hanging down. It's been like that for years.
Can you do me a favor? Give me the phone number. There's a number on it.
Okay.
Give me the phone number and a picture of it. I'll
Okay.
send it to them.
Alright.
So that's that.
Okay, so no other action on that one today,
No.
okay? And
Next
then
one,
new
City
city
Hall.
hall, you ready to build us new city hall?
Yes.
The city, I'll just take the growth opportunity piece because the city, we tried talking to these other cities and there's no interest. So take that out. It'll be new city hall to expand. So we'll have a discussion with EDC, maybe you and I can have a
Just
discussion.
let me know.
And then we'll see what they like. Before that, we got to have the list of all the properties we have. Chris.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
So, we'll move on from there. E, discussion and possible action on updates from Council Place 5.
Okay, on the community outreach, we had a newsletter that was published, for April. It was put out there. We also had a button, and I questioned why the newsletter wasn't under the button, and that got corrected. So that from now on, whenever you pull up the city website, there's now a button for newsletter, and you just punch on it, and the monthly newsletter will show up. I've talked to several people about, let's make sure you have it in 7 days in advance, anything that you want published. I need some contact information, like from Mary for Keep West Walking Beautiful. I need some information on how to get in touch with her so that I can remind her. Any information, because like we had the Easter egg hunt, and I'd like some pictures of the Easter egg hunt, some information. You know, this happened, you know, kind of put that out there for this next month. And so and we lifted him up with his picture and information on it. So I think the first round was a good success. I visited with Mary and asked her to make it more conversational. Like if the mayor wants to put in something for the month, or the city administrator has something he wants to say, I think that's a good place for it to go. And I'd like to see that start happening.
I can give you Mary Hall's contact.
Okay. Thank you.
Go, right before we leave.
Anything else on that one?
Great job with the last one, though.
Yeah.
Great job.
Okay, we'll move on from there. Number 11, citizens input, 3 minutes, non-related agenda items. That guy? All right, we have no citizens with us, so we'll move on from there. Number 12, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I've got a motion
Second.
Judge Gobi?
and a second.
Greg Swain.
James.
Cecilia Urban.
Motion passed. We're adjourned at 8:25.
Taco Tuesday.